Here comes the sun, doo-doo-doo. Here comes the sun, and I say it's alright.
I'm so excited to be joined today on Primetime Local News by Kristen and Bo Littles and a special guest, Crystal. We're going to explain the whole story in a moment, but thank you guys for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
Now, one of the things you guys do, because people are probably going to be asking, why are you holding a raccoon if they haven't seen you on social media, is it's a raccoon rehab. And this is Crystal, who has become super famous on TikTok. So let's start out by telling me a little bit about Crystal's story.
Okay, well, Crystal came into our rehab as the youngest baby we've ever had. She came in, her little umbilical cord was still attached. We estimate she was probably about a day old. And so she came in just like any other baby to our rehab. We had all intentions on raising her to release back into the wild. And then around 4 months old, she got sick with a virus and barely made it through. We were giving her round the clock care, but she was a fighter and she pulled through the virus, thankfully. But as she started getting better from the virus, we noticed that her legs were not working anymore. So for whatever reason, she had a really rare reaction. And it left her 4 legs paralyzed. So instead of being released back into the wild, she's now one of our permanent residents and educational ambassador.
How many raccoons do you guys have there currently right now?
We have 6 raccoons right now total in our rehab.
Permanent residents.
Yeah, permanent raccoons.
And you mentioned that Crystal has kind of become your ambassador. You do a feature on TikTok called Accepted or Rejected, where people can call in or send you in suggestions for foods you should try with her. So how did that get started?
It got started because she truly is just a really picky raccoon. I know people kind of look at them as like trash pandas and they'll eat anything, but that's not necessarily true. And it's definitely not true for Crystal. So we just always thought it was funny when we were trying new fruits with her, vegetables, meats. She would be really picky about what she would eat and what she wouldn't eat. And she would be really dramatic with her rejections. And we kind of already had our social media going at that point. And we're like, this would be really cute to show people how picky she is. And so we just started off our first episode of Accepted or Rejected, and it just took off from there. People really enjoyed seeing her try new foods and her picky reactions and dramatic reactions. You just really see her personality in those.
Well, I know that it's cute to see her doing this and you know, she's a gorgeous baby, but raccoons obviously aren't for everybody. And so what would you tell people if they happen to come across a raccoon and think it might be a good idea to keep it as a pet?
That would be a horrible idea. They're amazing animals. They're so intelligent. They're very emotional. But they're very energetic, and because they're so intelligent, they get into everything. They're very curious. They can be quite destructive. And at the end of the day, as sweet as she is, she's still a wild animal. So we never advise people to even think about having them as pets. And if you do come across a raccoon that needs help, or you are not sure if it needs help, definitely reach out to a licensed rehabber so they can assess the situation. And if they need to intervene and help the raccoon, then it's going into experienced rehabber hands.
And speaking of rehab, you have another girl that you've brought in. She's a CH baby, and her name is Winnie June, and we've just met her on social media. So yeah, tell me a little bit about her.
So Winnie June is actually a baby that we bottle raised. She came in with her sister from a city a little bit south of us last year. We raised her, and her sister developed normally and was able to be released back into the wild. But we noticed that Winnie June was very wobbly and would flop over and fall over easily. It definitely doesn't slow her down at all. But she actually went to stay at a different sanctuary for a little while, just because we try to make sure we don't become overwhelmed, or you know, that our babies go into good hands. But it didn't work out there. So she ended up coming back here just recently, this past week, and she's fitting back in beautifully.
Now, tell me about if people want to help out to your cause. I know you're selling some merchandise, but can they also just make straight donations as well? And if so, how do they go about doing that?
Yeah, so we do have a Venmo in our bio, and I know not everyone has access to Venmo, so we also have PayPal. We've had a few people reach out asking that exact question, how can they help? So either direct donations like that are always helpful, especially with baby season coming up, We're going to be very busy. Any day now, we'll start getting calls for baby raccoons and other wildlife animals that need help. We're building an outdoor enclosure for our non-releasable permanent residents, so they have indoor and outdoor access, which is very expensive. So either through direct donations, through our merchandise line, Crystal has some really cute merchandise items that go towards that as well. And then we are working on an Amazon wish list if people choose that route as well. Any way that they can helps us tremendously.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for helping these babies. I know a lot of times in the wild, if people come across them, they just don't bother to do anything. And it's nice to see people stepping up and helping as much as they can. If people want to follow Crystal's adventures and Winnie June and everything that you guys are doing, what is the best way to reach you guys on social media?
Our TikTok and our Instagram are both the same name, toes_and_tails. And I know it's hard to reach us through TikTok because messaging is a little weird, but I usually get direct messages through Instagram. And also the bio on our TikTok page has our shop, our merchandise shop, and you can send messages through there as well.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining me again today. Thank you so much for all that you do to help these animals. And we're looking forward to see what your adventures hold in the next few months.
Thank you so much.